Hey, just a disclaimer before this podcast starts. My microphone was not plugged in well in the first 5 minutes, so the audio was from my computer, so it's not as good. But this podcast is great, arguably my best one. I mean, just stay tuned and enjoy. What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Mental Game Podcast. This is episode 4. I got a couple of special guests in here, the twins, Tommy and Mikey. Say what's up.
What's up, guys? What's up?
So I wanted to talk about if the results in the bubble should be relevant or not. What do you guys think?
So it is definitely relevant in my mind. Like a big thing that showed was like team cultures and all that stuff. You know, the Heat showed out pretty well. I thought the Raptors, even though they got eliminated second round, showed out really well too. But then you
Mhm.
also had teams like the Clippers and the Pelicans. You kind of like some you need a little like culture change. You have a feeling that like even when it comes back to regular stuff, and we don't know what next season is going to be like, but even when it comes back to regular basketball, you just know that like cultures win championships for the most part.
Mhm.
So I think it showed up that, but then you also have like individual player stats, kind of like a TJ Warren averaging 31 in the bubble. I don't think that's gonna necessarily like hold up. So like individual players like that could be deceiving. But just for like overall team cultures and stuff, I think it's uh, pretty relevant. Yeah, I actually think the Suns might be a deceiving team because I mean they had the most to lose on all those 8 games they played. So like it definitely seemed like to me that like them and like Portland and I forget the other team
San Antonio.
and Memphis, yeah, those four teams, they had like a lot to play and a lot to lose. So like it seemed to me like they just wanted it more. Like generally that doesn't happen, but I definitely think those are deceiving in that sense.
What I really focused on is how I personally thought that he were gonna make the finals like in the very beginning, like way before pandemic, but that was a rare opinion. Like most people would say Celtics or
Yeah, I thought
Raptors.
Bucks, yeah.
And even Bucks, honestly. But I'm personally not a person that's high on the Bucks just because as a player, I'm not a fan of Giannis. As a person, I am, but not as a player. But that is besides the point. What I think is a lot of people were surprised that these three teams did not make it and the Heat made it. Do you think that's due to the bubble, or do you think that the Heat would have made it regardless?
No, I mean I like we're Celtics fans, so like we kind of know the Celtics a lot, and I was I was one of those people who did not believe in the Celtics. Like I like them
Okay.
a lot, and I think they're like really good and stuff. Like they were definitely better than the Raptors, but like some of like when it came down to crunch time, I just didn't know what the Celtics were doing. Some of like Jason Tatum's shots at the end were like highly questionable. Like he did that Luka Doncic step back to try to win game one of the Heat Celtics series. I was like, that was terrible.
I
But
think that the Celtics
I
I think the Celtics got so many options that they get confused about who to go to.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of saw that with like the Clippers too, because like they had like Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Will, and then like you could kind of throw Marcus Morris in there, kind of like a Robert Horry-esque like guy. Yeah, but like all four of them, they could get their shot whenever they wanted, and so it seemed weird because I know like last year, the only person the Clippers had was Lou Will, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to get too off topic, but I mean, I watched them last year. Last year against like the Warriors and uh, Warriors in the playoffs. They would set the screen for Lou Williams with Harrell and get like that little action. You'd have like Shamit and like Beverly in the
yeah.
corners for threes, and then that was like a lot better motion. So like generally, teams overall, the teams that win the close games aren't necessarily doing like complete iso ball unless you got like a Kyrie Irving or something. Not necessarily doing complete iso ball. They get a little motion in there, so everybody's an option. But like the Clippers would just always give it to Kawhi or Paul George. Try to iso ball, shoot it, and it's probably why they didn't beat Denver, who kept on like setting those screens with Jokic and Murray, just getting more action. But to go back again, that was a little off topic. To go back to your question about like if the Heat are legit or not, I definitely think the bubble helped them a little bit, and maybe they beat a team that they shouldn't. You never really know if it would have stayed the same. But I just think it just shows that the organization itself is top tier,
and I think that's going to generally translate overall to regular basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we go to next season though, I think they will have a problem because off pure talent and like superstar talent, I don't know if they're up there with like the Nets, who we don't know what they're going to be, but they could be a huge problem. And even like Boston, like Tatum and Brown are going to get better. Milwaukee, I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but who knows? Like their regular season is always so dominant, you can never count them out. And yeah, I mean, I feel like definitely with crowds too. I don't know if like Hero and Duncan Robinson are gonna be shooting as well. I mean, they're like buckets for definitely, but I don't know if Tyler Hero gets 30 points in a road game 6 or something like that.
Okay, so we've been having some technical difficulties on my end with the internet because the internet in my house is terrible. But we're talking about how the Heat success is legitimate or not legitimate because it was in the bubble. So what do you guys think again?
I said like it definitely shows a lot, and they're definitely better than what people are giving them credit before. But I would be surprised if they come out of the East again next year or show like similar results, because there's like their superstar power, like Bam and Jimmy, I don't think match up amazingly well against like the other superstars in the East, like especially that Nets team. That if they're like if KD even resembles what he was last time we saw him, I gotta assume that they're the favorites coming out of the East, because he would definitely be the best player in the East, and Kyrie wouldn't be far off.
Yeah, that should be interesting to watch because I've never seen a player come back the same from an Achilles injury. But I mean, KD is different, so I guess he'll get a chance.
Well, he was never the most explosive guy or something like that. I know like Kobe was similar too, but I still feel like he could be able to get buckets, especially with like his like 7-foot body.
Yeah,
like long arms.
And you know, if like Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan the same 2K, they'll get every single rebound there is possible to get. But
so something I wanted to say before was you guys played basketball in high school, so you know I play basketball as well at a competitive level. So we know that a crowd matters. We know that you can get nervous in big games and stuff. And this bubble thing is basically like AAU games.
Yeah.
And like practices. So we all know these players that do really good in practice, and then when it comes to a game, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
Because they get nervous.
Yeah. I mean, I think I kind of said this before, but I was questioning whether like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero can like perform in front of like huge crowds. I know like they're obviously used to huge crowds as like what the NBA players are, but I would have serious doubts of Tyler Hero scoring 30 points in a road game 5 game in the playoffs.
Yeah. I feel my doubts are more toward Tyler because he did not have a great regular season, while Duncan was shooting the lights out in the regular season too.
And again, it's easier. I think in the bubble, it is 10 times easier to get on a groove, because another thing with road and home games, you're shooting at like different hoops. I think in the bubble, there's like 3 different stadiums. So, I mean, you know, you see like Gary Trent shooting like 55% from 3 or something. Like, I don't think anyone would do that, let alone Gary Trent. So, I mean,
I'm interested to see how he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was also some science, I think, where like the depth perception was better in the bubble than it was in regular.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I mean, like I think we saw like inflated stats when it comes to like 3-pointers in the bubble, but I don't think it's like drastic.
I think it also changed how some teams perform, like you said, because the Heat culture is all about work hard and grind and underdog mentality. But they have other teams that their culture is more like embrace the fans, kind of like Philly or things like that. So I think, and even in New Orleans, like Lonzo looked completely disengaged all of the bubble. Like he played bad, but very bad. Like, I mean, like worse than we've been accustomed to. And he hasn't been playing that well in his career. So that's saying a lot.
I wonder the last time he played like legitimate games without a huge crowd. Because like even in Chino Hills, he packed the house whenever we played AAU game. You know, like everyone would show up.
He looked unmotivated.
Exactly.
Well, it also something was wrong with New Orleans. I don't really know why. Because I even saw like it seemed like Zion was just terrible on defense, and it seemed like their team just didn't want to be on defense almost. It was kind of a weird aspect.
Yeah, I think it's when it's in the bubble, it's basketball 24/7. You don't get to see your families, you don't get to go home, you eat garbage food, all you do is train all day. So it's whoever likes basketball the most and embraces the grind succeeds. And I think that's why the Heat made such serious damage, because Jimmy Butler, that's his mentality and that's his team.
That's Pat Riley's mentality. That's the whole organization again. And even Toronto, like they were so undersized against Boston. I honestly, like, even though they kind of got lucky in a sense on that game 3 to not get like totally blown in the series, I don't know if in regular series they'd take Boston 7 games, just because, again, the skill gap is honestly there. And then, you got Fred VanVleet either guarding Brown or Tatum, and it's kind of like that's probably not going to hold up. Like us guarding 6'5" guys, honestly, like it catches up to us. Like we can look all right, but then like once it comes down to crunch time, we really can't contest their shot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also like wondering about Siakam too, because it was weird. Like in the entire regular season, he was this like all-star starter, like all NBA caliber player, and then in the playoffs, he was the biggest liability on the floor. And I don't know why, but
I think we've seen a pattern here. Guys that are their game is very Yeah, the guys that are not great scores for a sense, but put up great numbers in the regular season did not succeed in this bubble scenario. And I have a reason for why. Pascal Siakam, even Embiid, then I said Giannis, Pascal, Ben Simmons played before he got hurt, I think, and he didn't do well. Joel Embiid, all these guys that base on their inside game, even Russell Westbrook, all these guys were struggling because these courts are smaller, and that makes the lane more packed. So you have to be able to hit out the outside shot. And I think that's why we saw teams shooting so many threes. Like, I've never watched NBA games where people shooting so many threes, like with people that are not known three-point shooters.
Yeah, I mean, like Marcus Smart was all of a sudden a 50% three-point shooter.
Trust us, he's not a 50% free throw shooter. Trust me, he would not shoot that many.
Yeah,
Stevens would yank him.
Yeah. I mean, that brings up an interesting point. So the courts were smaller?
I think they were smaller because they needed to fit them all in space. So, because you said like they created multiple courts. I think they're a little narrower and a little shorter.
No, I didn't know. Yeah, that would definitely play to the advantage of shooters, without doubt.
For sure. Also, there's no crowd distracting you. Like when you drive for a layup, you don't really care about the crowd. Like you're looking at the rim the whole time. Like and you're a defender, like analyzing it. There's not much thinking and mental processing that's going into taking a layup or making a pass. But when you shoot, it's so mental because everything is kind of like in slow motion when you catch the ball, because your defender is closing out on you, and then you just look at the hoop and there's a big crowd behind it. But if there's no crowd, it's just empty. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if without the crowd, if there was, I mean, there's certainly less pressure, but I wonder to the extent of like when it came down to crunch time, like you saw like Jimmy Butler and LeBron like going back and forth in that game. I wonder if they especially if Jimmy Butler was able to do that in front of like a huge crowd.
I think Jimmy Butler is one of those people that would be able to, just because his mentality is such a killer mentality. He's been a star in the league for years, and I think now he just found his perfect situation. But I have doubts about other players. Like, I'm a big Portland fan, and I love what Gary Trent was doing. Like, in my opinion, he was the best shooter in the world at that point. Like, in the world. Like, I swear this dude did not miss. Every time he got an open three, it was money. But
speaking of Portland, I'd personally trade CJ McCollum right now.
Right, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about too, because this is like, if you think Gary Trent can keep doing this, which I really hope he can. I love his game and his confidence. We do not need CJ McCollum.
I mean, personally, I honestly don't. Like, obviously, more offense helps, but I'm honestly looking at the defense first.
Exactly.
I mean, CJ kind of won them Game 7 against Denver last year, and he's had like really good games too. He played really well against Memphis as well, but it's it's kind of like a little worse. Damian Lillard, like a guy who's better at mid-range instead of threes. Both of them aren't defending amazingly. And it's like Gary Trent was guarding the best player, so he's like, absolute stud. But it just doesn't feel right, honestly.
Yeah, and they've got to change up something because they're going to be consistently a B-tier team in the West, I think, with the core they have. And I think the only way they could, afford, get the cap space available to get another guy who Lillard could rely on is you got to trade CJ.
I think what they're missing is a very good wing. I think that Damian Lillard him and Steph, he is arguably the best point guard in the game. And then we're talking about CJ McCollum. He's a great player. I think you put him on almost on any team that does not have two all-stars. He can become an all-star maybe. And I think that he's going to put up great numbers on whatever teams he plays, and I love watching him play. But his fit with Damian Lillard just does not work because they both don't really play defense. That's not their thing. And on offense, CJ is not really a catch-and-shoot player. He's more like a dribble shoot. And Damian Lillard is going to have the ball most of the time. So you need guys who will spot up, just like Gary Trent. And if you get more defense on the other hand from him, I mean, that just makes sense to, have it. So I think they need to trade CJ for some wing, and they have to try to keep Yusuf Nurkic healthy because that guy can be a top 5 center if he's healthy. And I think they just have to keep developing those younger guys and hope that these younger guys can deliver while Damian Lillard is still in his prime.
Yeah, I mean, Damian doesn't seem like he wants to leave, and I really don't think he does. But I think around the age Chris Paul at the Clippers would be kind of like when he's thinking I kind of want to win a ring and be one of the main reasons to win it. And he's he put 10 years or something into Portland, and I don't think they're going to do anything soon, honestly. So I think he'll eventually leave, even though he doesn't want to at the moment. But
if he will leave, it will be when his contract expires. I do not see them trading him.
Yeah, but I don't think he wouldn't.
You could be an awkward last year of his contract there. I mean, you never know. Trade deadline, I don't know who would take him.
No, but, I mean, they're not going to trade Lillard. But, yeah.
I mean, I have not seen a player of that caliber, traded, ever, I think.
Yeah, no, they certainly wouldn't trade Lillard. I don't know.
Yeah.
They got to get a team around him. It's kind of similar with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
I know Giannis has, stated multiple times he doesn't want to leave. But there comes a point where, you'd feel like an idiot not to leave. And I think Lillard might approach that sometime soon if they don't change something up.
Yeah, I hope they're able to figure it out.
Who would Portland get though? I honestly don't know. Is Paul George going to leave again? You leave another team?
I don't think that's who they need. I think any wing that is a great 3-and-D guy, and then just stack up that bench really, because Yusuf Nurkic is a lot better than people think he is.
I know.
And Gary Trent, I believe, can keep delivering, but if he can't, that's going to also have a big effect. And I think Carmelo got a couple more years in him. But
he has corner 3 forever.
Yeah, Carmelo is one of the clutcher players, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, I think if they could get their hands on someone like a Robert Covington, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, every team would want Robert Covington.
That's true. He has one year left, and Houston will probably trade him for a big man right now, but a real big man. But
yeah, Daryl Morey's out of there. He's in Philadelphia now, so Philadelphia is going to have a huge reconstruction.
Yeah, with Doc Rivers too. Do you think they would need to trade Simmons or Embiid? Do you have an opinion on that?
It's very difficult to say because I'm a big Ben Simmons fan, or I should say was, because I kind of lost respect for him after seeing how he's not even attempting shots.
No, yeah.
I don't care if he misses it. He can shoot 10% from 3. I just want him to attempt them to make the defense respect him.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Giannis, you definitely want to force him to shoot the 3, but he has a respectable enough 3.
You can't leave him. You can't leave him.
Yeah, you can't just leave it.
And it shoots more than, God forbid, he gets a little better. Like, I mean, that's gonna honestly have all faith in Giannis to.
I have faith in Giannis improving his three, but I don't have faith in Ben Simmons improving his
exactly.
three.
And I don't know what, like even
Probably
people,
because he dated Kylie Jenner. That's not exactly.
yeah. But I mean,
Right when I saw that, I think Stephen A. actually made the joke. He was like, "Oh, Ben Simmons is done." He just made a joke. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like it's like, you have people like Brooke Lopez who didn't even pretend to shoot a three like when he was younger, and then you saw his progression like in like 2 years. And I mean, people have been on Ben Simmons to get a jump shot. He hit that 1-3, but it just hasn't seemed to progress for him.
It looked good too.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't some ugly ass shot. It looked pretty good to me.
it's gonna make his mixtape for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
If it have all dunks and passes, then just a three out of nowhere.
yeah. I mean,
shoot.
yeah.
Just get a couple of free throws that he made too, just to show he has the range.
So personally, I think that Ben Simmons' Embiid is not going to work.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I'm honestly bigger on Simmons than I'm on Embiid. That's a rare opinion.
well, no, I was always on the opinion that you have to trade Embiid because
Same.
I don't trust his health, and this is like the first like stretch where he's had like a bit of health like on his side. So I mean, like I just like, as bad as it sounds, thinks that he'll get injured again.
What
That's
if-
my
what if Daryl Morey?
CJ, but
What if Daryl Morey is able to pull off a Joel Embiid for James Harden?
Oh yeah, I've seen that circulate too. That would be,
I'd try to get rid of Russell Westbrook's contract if I was him, but I don't think Philly will budge on that.
no, he's on Philly now.
I don't think Philly is taking
no,
Russell
I know.
Westbrook of Ben Simmons. That sounds disgustingly bad for Smith.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying.
That sounds like some 2008 team.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's
Because
terrible.
like both players needs the ball to be like decent.
Yeah, decent.
I guess
Yeah,
like Ben
decent.
Simmons
That's
is
a good
defender.
word.
Like Ben Simmons is a good defender, but you don't need like another Tony Allen.
Exactly. I love Ben Simmons' game, but it also pisses me off that he's not pushing the envelope to
Well,
improve.
Exactly. Well, Celtics fans, we saw him play last year's playoffs, 2019's playoffs, and they didn't respect him at all from three. They
That's
just kinda said,
that's just
He had Al
embarrassing.
Horford on him.
I might be wrong. I think
No,
he had
Al Horford on Embiid. I don't even know. They didn't. He had 1 point. If you remember that.
Yeah, they won't even like put in the real defenders on him. That's what I was trying to say. Like, no, Marcus Smart wasn't just hounding him or anything. It was,
I think if I'm the 76ers, what I'm doing is I'm keeping Simmons because I think he has the potential to be a generational player. And I'm trading away Embiid for as many pieces as possible, which is a lot.
what about like CJ McCollum? I think
Yeah.
both sides would like it. I mean, Portland would probably need.
If Portland got Embiid,
But-
I'm thinking they're going far, but they'd have to get rid of Nurkic then.
Nurkic
Oh,
and
yeah.
probably Gary Trent and CJ and
Well,
maybe a pick too, but
the thing
I
with
mean-
Philly though.
I can see a CJ, Nurkic, and like CJ Nurkic and like 2-3 picks for Embiid.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can
Yeah.
see that too.
And the thing with Philadelphia, I do believe if they were to trade Embiid, that Al Horford would like come back alive or something and like actually be like a good, useful player that they could rely on. Because I
Even
think,
if Horford becomes a useful player, I mean, the amount of money he's getting paid is unbelievable.
oh yeah, no, he won't be worth his
No,
contract.
no,
I wasn't saying that.
They'll need to lose their next 3 picks to get rid of him.
Yeah.
He's us Boston fans were just laughing, honestly.
Yeah.
That was my highlight of the year, seeing Al Horford just crash like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I do think if you put Al Horford back to the center position, like, well, I think he's supposed to play. I think he'll be back to respectable,
For sure.
which I mean, again, isn't high standards, but it certainly would be better than his 3-point per average in the playoffs. whatever it
84
was.
overall in 2K type beat.
Do you think that Daryl Morey, with his history of being able to get rid of bad contracts, as he did in Houston, I mean, he also signs people to bad contracts, but he's able to. I mean, do you think he can get rid of Tobias Harris and Al Horford? Because that'll give him so much room to make
I like Tobias.
I think you can get rid of Tobias. Yeah, I think Tobias.
I don't like Tobias with that contract, though.
He's terrible with that contract, but you can definitely. He has some value for teams. I can't.
For sure.
I can't see
Like
any
the Knicks.
team salary. Yeah, I can't. I can't see any team
No,
valuing.
you can probably give no. The Knicks will take him.
The Knicks will take him.
They'll give you OJ Barrett back.
They'll take care. They'll take care of Gordon. Yeah. Yeah, they'll trade their future for
Go all in on Tobias.
Another problem I had with the bubble
trade their pick.
is that if you give a team a chance to compete in it, like the Suns, and they went undefeated, how do you go undefeated in a tournament but not make the next step of it?
I mean, I was rooting hard for them at the end. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, like Memphis went like to what 2-6.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Portland got it. So I'm not complaining, but I don't understand how you go undefeated in a tournament that you got invited to and not advance. Because why were you invited if you go undefeated and not advance?
I mean,
That's some poor structure.
What I didn't like too was Portland was a careless Levert mid-range shot away from not getting in. And the Suns were undefeated too. I was like, jeez.
Now, like Portland had the best chance,
basketball.
actually.
And Portland was the better team, obviously, but they really almost let that slip away, and that was.
I mean, both series would have been a blowout to the Lakers, so it's not missed out on anything.
I don't know. There was this huge cult believing that Portland was going to beat LA, and I did not. I
was praying they do, but if Damian Lillard, the reason Portland was not able to stay in games with the Lakers, and I'll keep saying that because I watched every second of those games, is because the Lakers are the best defensive team I've seen in 3 years. And
even those Spurs teams with Kawhi.
I mean, since that, honestly.
Okay.
Because their trap defense kills superstars, like ball handling superstars. It forces Damian to give the ball away. I remember in the first quarter of some game, I don't remember, maybe game 3 or 2. I don't think he attempted a 3-pointer in the first or second quarter. And to even get to the point where he can't attempt a shot with his range and his ball handling ability and creating ability, that's unbelievable.
Who was he McGrady? Did they put
Rondo? Probably Rondo.
They have KCP and Danny Green trapping, and they also have Rondo chipping in basically.
Yeah.
KCP was one of the biggest surprises in my mind in the finals.
I mean, Danny Green was a surprise too, just in a different way.
Oh no, that wasn't shocking to me at all, honestly.
You knew he was terrible?
Well, throughout the playoffs, he kind of showed us. People forget it wasn't just the finals.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true.
I mean,
do you think he's at the league now? Honestly,
no, he's not. He's not that bad. Kuzma might be a year away. Honestly, the way he was playing, but
crazy to think the Lakers kept Kuzma over Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Ingram. No way he's as good with LeBron as he is.
Oh, no way! But he's 3 years younger or 4, and he has infinite more potential, and that was obvious back then too.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought.
Do you think Kuzma? I heard this the other day. I was like, he might have. Do you think Kuzma hit his peak like sophomore year?
I think Kuzma has a higher ceiling than people think. I actually think Kuzma could be almost an all-star, but on a bad team.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I think Kuzma is one of those players
that
is gonna be like an almost all-star, like a Monte Ellis, but on a terrible team all the time. Because all he needs to add to his game to really be there is to improve his shot selection and to get better ball handling. Really, he cannot dribble the ball to save his life.
No,
it looks really bad.
That's what I was about to say. Are you really going to be like, hey, Kuz, get us a bucket? No one's going to do that. You want to lose? Then do that. But, I'm not really that big of a fan because he's I'd say for spot-up shooters, he's below average. For defense, he's average probably.
I'd say worse than that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's also that awkward. Is he a 3 or 4 player too?
His game is very awkward.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't think there's a single aspect of his game where he's he's above average there. Like maybe
I
athleticism.
think the
but
first year of Kuzma could have showed us that maybe he could be like almost all-star, like on a
if he
bad
plays,
team, or showed us that Lonzo Ball is a great playmaker.
yeah, I was about
That's
to say.
right, yeah.
I was about to say. Yeah, if he gets his shots like spoon feeded to him, I think he could. You know, if he gets confidence back, he could hit them. But and then who is his girlfriend again? Did he date Kylie Jenner as well?
Yeah, everyone who dates one of the Kardashians is going to fall.
Yeah, you saw Blake Griffin fall off a cliff, and then he hasn't been dating Kylie Jenner for like 2 years, and now he's back.
I'm worried about Devin Booker.
Devin Booker? Yeah.
Because that is, in my opinion, Devin Booker is the next coming of Kobe Bryant. I know that's tough to say, but Kobe's my favorite player of all time.
I know what you
And
mean,
he has that like go thing that Kyrie has too from Kobe, but he has a game that's super similar to Kobe. Like he's missing nothing from being that guy.
I mean, I guess he's not the defender, but besides that.
I mean, but Kobe developed that over the years too.
Yeah.
I mean, defense is more of an effort thing when you're that good of an athlete.
Yeah.
I personally think like a year from now, Devin Booker will be on a different team. I personally think that.
I hope he is.
I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to become an all-star next year. I don't know.
I think DeAndre Ayton is a good player, but from the moment they drafted him there, number one, I knew that the expectations that are set for him are not going to fit because we're talking about basically inside center. And the truth hurts, but it's really not how basketball is played anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, easy to say now. I bet you everybody would say they had this opinion now, but I honestly thought Luka should have went number one.
I wish I had a podcast back then. I was high on Luka since he was 17.
And then I see you as the number 2 pick, the Sacramento Kings. Like Vlade Divac is going to pick another one. I was like,
well, it's Vlade Divac. What do you expect?
Yeah, no, I saw Marvin Bagley go number 2, and I was like, he's not bad, but I just knew that pick was happening. I was like, God, but like get Trae Young for once. So like I know you have De'Aaron Fox. Like I thought Trae Young would be better, and I wasn't big on Trae Young at all. He's actually like outperforming what I thought he'd be, but I just knew it. I knew it. They pick another.
What do you guys think about this upcoming draft class? Weak or strong or medium? Weak.
I mean, there's no clear like superstar coming out of it. I think that's the problem.
I think you got a two-headed monster though.
I don't.
Anthony Edwards and LaMelo. Is that what you think?
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Wiseman personally.
Personally, I agree.
Yeah, he has like there's something about him that
I think he has a very big boom and bust potential.
Yeah, I feel like it almost feels like he thinks he's like he didn't come off to me as like a very hard worker.
It's almost like he's gonna be a Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's. Yeah. I mean, Mitchell. He's
okay.
Hey, that's good, but not for a number 3 pick or number 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but again, like, what was the 2013 draft was probably the worst draft the past decade. And Giannis came out of it. Victor Oladipo came out of it. I mean, it wasn't like there's going to be some players.
Hey, the GOAT Anthony Bennett went number 1.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And people forget about him, man.
He was at the league after a year. He set like a record or something.
Dude, goodness, I wish I like knew more about the incoming draft from 2013 because I bet you I could have called Anthony Bennett not being good.
Nobody could.
I don't think anyone thought Anthony Bennett was going to be good.
Yeah, he was like, wasn't he like on the mock draft like the 7 to 9 range?
Yeah. Oladipo was supposed to go number 1, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and even him like kind of looked like a bust at first.
Oh
like,
yeah, but Oladipo can be a really good player if he avoids injury, and I believe that he's great.
Yeah. Well, the thing he's a Miami Heat type player. He just work ethic.
Yeah, if the Heat get him, I'd love that. That'd be nice.
Yeah, what I like about Oladipo the most is he's like a defensive first, and so like you could tell he's like a naturally gifted defender. He's amazing at defense, and then he's developed that offense, so like he can be a first option. Like
I think those guys in the NBA are becoming like dime a dozen. Like you're starting to see more of them. Like Kawhi Leonard was the same way. Then you think about Paul George. as crazy it is to say, his defense was his best thing coming out of college too. and and then like all these guys, like I can
Even
keep
like
naming them.
Jaylen Brown was the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
They picked him because his defense.
I can low-key see Marcus Smart becoming that too. I think his offensive game is coming along nice. I mean, Kyle Lowry also. I mean,
yeah, Kyle Lowry for sure, dude.
These guys like came in the league, started off slow, kinda. I mean, in terms of scoring, and developed that offensive game and became stars or superstars.
Yeah. So who do you think will be the biggest surprise team next year? Do you have any like those sleeper teams?
I honestly think every team is going to go into this season almost, other than the Knicks probably, thinking they can make the playoffs.
What about like Charlotte? Charlotte.
Well, Charlotte, Knicks and Charlotte. Other than that, I really see every team thinking they can make the playoffs. Like even the Kings, I can think
I bet you
they can make it.
Cleveland can be decent. Like I don't trust that.
I think Cleveland can be decent. Yeah.
But yeah, they certainly have talent to make the playoffs. I honestly think that people are sleeping on the Wizards. Personally.
I didn't think people were sleeping on them, but if they are, yeah, the Wizards are going to make some serious noise because Bradley Beal is a top 3 or 4 shooting guard in the game right now.
And John Wall's back to it.
And John Wall, I want to see how he plays, but he's looking great from what I've seen.
If he has even if he just has his speed, his speed was almost his best attribute before. And so if he could get that back. I mean, yeah, Isaiah Thomas made a career just based off beating people off speed and stuff. And John Wall still has that. And he has a decent shot too. I mean,
man, Isaiah Thomas, I hope he gets another chance.
I can't see it. He's too much of a liability on defense.
Media is just killing these players nowadays. Like the media is setting up all these little stories that's throwing teams away. Like I knew Dwight Howard still had something in the back to offer a team, but he was not getting signed.
Kuzma is not bad enough to not have a ring, but that poll that it was the GoFundMe or whatever that had 50,000 people vote. Kuzma signed to Kuzma don't get a ring. I thought that was so funny.
It is. Well, I'm surprised they didn't make one for Danny Green, but yeah, I was talking about how the media sets up all these narratives. Like Isaiah Thomas went out the league 2 years after he was averaging 30 a game and putting up 50-point games in the playoffs as a 5'9" player. That's so insane to me. And also,
it's all about situation.
Oh, the NBA is all about situations because all these guys have talent. So the guys that work hard in that league and the guys that believe in themselves, all they need is the right situation. I'm a firm believer that there are guys sitting on the bench and on some teams that can be stars, and we don't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel the same way. It's all about confidence. I mean, I'll give Tyler Hero the credit where he deserves. He has all the confidence in the world. I mean, I honestly don't think
he has a little bit too much of it, if you ask me.
I mean, okay, no denying that, honestly, but I honestly don't think he would have been in the league without the confidence he has, dude. I mean, he's 6'5", which is tall, but
I think he'd be in the league, but I don't think he'd be doing this in a playoff game.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, because he's built on his shot, and some of the shots he takes and makes, normal players usually don't take the shot, and the fact that he's hitting them, it just makes him look a lot better.
Oh yeah, for sure. So before we wrap this up, do you think we're going to see players maintain the role they've been on in the bubble, or are we going to see players?
Well, there's some play TJ Warren is not going to be an all-star.
Oh yeah. But what about guys like Gary Trent, Tyler Hero?
I believe the shooters might keep it because they prove that they can do it. Duncan Robinson's going to be a lethal guy, even though he can't play defense.
It's their confidence is right now because they have the ability. It's now only confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Confidence is huge. Yeah, I mean, I think people like Duncan Robinson is going to play really well. Tyler Hero, I mean, he's definitely overrated by the media in some sense, but I still think he's going to have a good season compared to what he was doing before.
The media putting up all these narratives, I also said, with Dwight Howard, how he was out the league almost. Carmelo Anthony, even crazier to me. That dude got Portland into the playoffs.
Yeah, like he definitely wasn't like he's definitely still not a great defender, but his offensive skill is like still.
Carmelo Anthony, I can't believe that the Lakers signed Jared Dudley over Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
If the Lakers had Carmelo Anthony, they would have swept for this playoff.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He would work great with LeBron.
I mean, over playing over like Kuzma and stuff. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Carmelo's still like. I think Milwaukee honestly would have benefited him. They don't have any.
Ooh, that's a great fit.
They don't have any go get a bucket.
I like that.
Like Giannis was in
Middleton's like not quite there.
I like that.
Like George Hill trying to see the team.
George Hill. Fun fact: George Hill shot like 52% from 3 this year.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like Carmelo's just a go get a bucket guy. I honestly think he would have been like great over there. And I heard you say it in the podcast the other day. I honestly firm believer that they should go get Chris Paul.
Yeah,
Milwaukee. Yeah, just Chris Paul. Like you forget he could go get a bucket.
Yeah,
I mean,
put Chris Paul on the Bucks or the Clippers next year, and one of them is winning a chip.
I think the Clippers are still my personal favorite to win next year.
I need to see them get a point guard because before that, I'm my favorites again.
Yeah. I already stated it before. I think they need to just get their end game like situated. Like they didn't really know who was out there. Like Kawhi would just like sometimes go 1-on-1 pass to Paul George. Paul George didn't know he'd get the ball, and you'd be like, let me see what I could do.
I think Chris Paul can help that subside.
Well, yeah, but they had it the year prior. I mean, I think it's just like Doc Rivers should have done something, but
yeah, well, that's why he's not there anymore.
Yeah, the Clippers of all teams should have the coach that blew the most like 3-1 leads or whatever. Like the Clippers of all team, like.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks for listening to this podcast. Yeah, thanks guys for coming on this. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Yep.